really successful people, really successful coaches, really successful organizations leave clues about why they're successful. It's our job to find the clues and then take them and make them fit what we're trying to accomplish.
We're so very fortunate to have three phenomenal partners of the podcast. Play, Rock Daisy, and Output are all companies that I've worked with for many years and fully endorse. Make sure that you support them when you can, or let them know when you see them how much you appreciate them being part of this podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to the CEO Strength Coach Podcast. I'm your host, Ron McKeefery, and fortunate today I have a buddy on, Matt Durant. He's the head or the director of strength and conditioning at the University of La Verne out in California. Known Matt for a long time, just a guy that does it the right way, and just a stud, man. Just got it. We share a lot of similarities, a lot of things that we both enjoy, the outdoors and coaching and just, again, you just gravitate to certain people. And so I've gravitated to Matt through the years, but man, I appreciate you being on the show.
Coach, thank you. Great to talk to you and look forward to this. Appreciate it.
Matt, you've coached at different levels and whatnot, but what do you think? You're at a Division III school in California. What's been the biggest difference between kind of running that program versus maybe some of the schools at, Division I, 1AA type level?
Well, Coach, before when you and I were just chatting, I don't have to deal with a lot of the stuff at Division I. We don't have anyone worried about NIL. We do have kids that might have a chance, an opportunity to move on, but nowhere near what the other schools do. So I've kind of told buddies of mine that are at different levels, like, I think you would like the Division III because these kids we're going to have for 4 years, 4 years. Not too many. I've had one baseball player in the last 4 years leave because of portal. That's it. Just one. So we get to spend a lot of time with our kids. We get to develop them. We get to instill some great habits. I get to know them, the relationships. How many times you talked about in any of one of your interviews, relationship building with people, Coach? And I think that at our level, we really get to develop the relationships. I've gotten to work with most of my coaches for almost double-digit years. So I know exactly what they want. I know exactly how they want to run their program. And I've been at La Verne since 2002. I have the ability now, when people come back, I can cover decades of being at La Verne and telling stories and watching the process change at Division III and watching how the kids are now coming through at this level. And it has changed, right? Change is inevitable. And so our ability to work with the student population as it is changing, 18 to 22-year-old age range. One thing I will say, when I got here in 2002, Coach, none of the females wanted to lift weights for the most part. It was still kind of new. Now in 2025, they want to get as strong as they can possibly get. I have more females like, Coach, how do I get my legs bigger? How do I clean more? How do I squat? The attitude has changed in the 18 to 22-year-old range. And a lot of that has to do with social media. So the ever evolution of humankind has definitely helped drive what I do at the Division III level.
It's awesome that you say that, because I think one, and we'll get into this, but you being at a place for 20 years, I mean, like that doesn't happen anymore, right? But I think it's important what you said there for people, especially the young coaches that are listening, because so many times, like when you really sit back, and this is something I always say, is to start with the end in mind and reverse engineer what you want your career to look like. And that's going to help you choose and make your decisions easier as you go. So a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, I want to be able to develop players long-term. I want to, live in the same community. I want to be able to go to my kids' events. And, Matt's an awesome dad. If you watch any of his social media, you see that. But those things are hard it's not impossible, but it's harder, the higher levels, right? In that way. But you made that conscious choice, and you've been able to be at a place that you have made a tremendous impact throughout those 20 years. But, when you're dealing with a smaller program, you're dealing with less resources, right? That means less coaches. That means less, I think you were there for 20 years. I think you got just your first upgraded weight room recently. But how do you build kind of a unified philosophy across? It's easier because you're the leader and you can kind of dictate it, but with the limited resources, how do you create that unified philosophy to where everybody feels like they're getting the same level of training, the same And what are those non-negotiables when it goes across to multiple teams?
Coach, I got to start by saying this. I can't remember where I heard you say this, but you saying it reminds me. I always say never start anything without having the end in mind. When I'm teaching in my kinesiology classes, we talk about periodization models, what you want your kids doing in season lifting. That's got to start in the off season. And so it's funny you say that because I have been saying that for years. Thank you for reminding me that I heard it first from you. I tell you what, Coach, it has been when I started La Verne in '02, I was all by myself. And I think I did that for about 6 or 7 years, coached every single sport team by myself. I don't know how I got through those days. And it taught me a lot about being organized. Now I have a staff. I just got last year was just able to hire a full-time assistant. I have a graduate assistant and 2 part-time guys. You know, at the Division I level, they have the football 5. I just have 5. So organizationally, the standard is the standard, right? We've heard that a lot with coaches. No matter who is coaching what team, the standard is the standard. I implemented a few rules. I don't have many rules. And I've always been under the guise that if the more rules you have, the more you got to enforce. One being, we wear La Verne stuff in the weight room. We're at the University of La Verne, 5 colors: orange, black, gray, white, and green. You wear La Verne stuff. Nobody at Oregon is wearing La Verne stuff, so we're going to wear La Verne. That kind of tells everybody, like, hey, we're all on the same team. And I think that's the message. As I've had a lot of graduate assistants and assistants come through, I always kind of tell them, like, listen, I'm going to be here before you got here. I'm going to be here after you've got here. But we all need to be speaking the same language. Not that I have tried to do this on purpose, but a lot of my assistants have been ex-athletes of mine. So it's been easy to bring them in and go, okay, now you're on this side of the whistle or this side of the workout. Here's how we're going to do things. And so I kind of have taken what I've heard a lot of high school strength coaches talk about in terms of, teaching the seniors to help coach the juniors, to help coach the sophomores, to coach the freshmen. So a top-down approach. You gave me this idea a long time ago, Coach, right? And it's writing a book. I think as strength coaches, we have this incredible ability to be around as many people that we've been around in our career. Our head baseball coach said this to me one time. He goes, I would love to know what you think of other sport coaches because you're around their teams all the time. You get an inside, intimate look into how they do things. So I'm in the process of kind of working on a book right now, and it's called From the Top Down. And it's basically really successful people, really successful coaches, really successful organizations leave clues about why they're successful. It's our job to find the clues and then take them and make them fit what we're trying to accomplish. So I've kind of taken that model that I coach my athletes to coach each other. I educate my athletes to educate each other so that if I have my back turned, I know there's a junior behind me watching someone. They know how to coach everything. They've heard me say it enough times to where they can coach the freshmen. I've done a few things over the last couple of years where I'm trying to build more continuity into our program. One being, before we step foot on campus first day, all the off-season sports have to teach the warm-up to the in-season, to their new incoming class, whether it's freshman or a transfer. What that does is it gets them talking. It gets them communicating. We are now in an environment where it's too easy to send a text. I want them opening their mouth and speaking to each other so that when the coach gets them, they're used to talking to each other. The new to us, we call them new to us free agents or rookies, get used to listening to the kids that have been here. And the kids that have been here now get used to being able to have good conversations with the new to us athletes. And so what that has done, I've noticed over the years, is from day one, the communication's already better. They learn to listen because anytime someone is talking to them, it's usually in a point that they need to hear. Secondly, is that they go over the rules with each other before I even get them. Again, I want them to all be on the same page. I want them to get used to listening to each other. Every year I meet with a few people from each sport and we go over my expectations. And then they take that and they go to the teams. Having everyone train together, as you know, it's like team camp. Great physical confrontation, great personal confrontation within a team, within an organization, more often than not leads to a great glue. So when we're doing things, I'm constantly trying to get them to be in a little bit of confrontation. Okay, now that's not necessarily me coming down on them. That's doing a metabolic conditioning circuit, or that's something along the lines of, I did this. And where this sparked for me was I was with football a couple of years ago, and I said, okay, everybody partner up. We're going to go over the Olympic lifts. And every spring we start reteaching the Olympic lifts and we move forward. But then I said, I want the defensive guys to partner up with an offensive guy. And then I said, okay, I want the defensive lineman to work with a wide receiver. And what I started to see is guys that normally wouldn't talk to each other were having to communicate with each other. So I would in front of the whole group, give a cue. And I said, okay, go. coach each other. I want to hear you guys coach each other. And I started to walk around and go, they're giving each other some really good cues and they're learning how to listen to each other. Okay, so let's fast forward that a little bit. Having two teenage boys, 18-year-old and 14-year-old, that I am trying to raise them so that I'm not around and make good decisions. Well, I kind of feel the same way with the athletes. I don't want them to always have to need me. I want them to be able to, hey, my glutes tight. Let's do some trigger point. Let's stretch it this way. Let's do some mobility, blah, blah, blah. If I can do that within a sports team, the team now starts running itself. There's more buy-in. Our head football coach talks about this all the time, and I'm in lockstep with him. He wants a player-led team. So do I. Because when you have a player-led team, the culture is usually where you want it to be. So I put more onus on the kids to buy into the program, but I also give them more responsibility. Bill Belichick said this in one of his books, I can't pay you anymore. I give you more responsibility. Well, with the kids, how do we get the kids to buy into our program more? Give them more of the program to buy into. Allow them to coach each other. And I start to hear kids that normally don't say too much become very talkative. And I'm like, that is amazing. Or I'll walk up and go, that's a really great coaching cue. Good job. So when I started doing all this, all of a sudden I noticed more kids wanted to be strength coaches. Well, I'm inviting them into the program and they're turning around and going, I kind of like helping people. I think we all got in this profession to help somebody. I really do. My dad was a strength coach. I've been around football coaches my whole life. I've been around, my dad was a retired Marine Corps colonel. I've been around really strong military guys and coaches. I gravitate towards people that like helping other people. And it's funny too, and coach, you may laugh at this, but when I leave work, I really don't like being around people, but I love my athletes and I love being around the people I get to work with. So I think having all those things happen, the next part, and this is debatable. I enjoy training. I like getting here before the athletes show up. So when they come in the gym at 6:00 in the morning, Coach Durant has a sweat. The strength staff has a sweat. We're working out together, enjoying each other's company. And I think all of that builds a culture, builds a foundation for what we're trying to do. So we're trying to demonstrate the behavior that we want from the kids. If we don't like training, they're probably not going to like it that much. But my staff and I, we work out together almost every day. So the kids see us having a good time. They're like, hey, the strength staff's getting it. I'm not 21. I turned 51 this year. I can't do what I did at 21, but I can still work out for function of life. And I still do really hard things. I think a lot of coaches, we forget that if we have energy for what we're doing and we get up in front of a group and we've had a great workout and we're excited to be there, it resonates to everybody. So all of that kind of put it together. Watching my dad for years run a strength program was a huge motivator for me to be in the field, learning from Dose, who was my mentor in the field, who was always he's still a lifelong learner and trying to just continually get better at my craft, managing people, motivation, being a better leader, being a better mentor, learning a new technique in the weight room, and then bringing that to the athletes and having really good conversations about it. I'm finding they're more motivated to do it. Yeah. So I think across the board, when I bring on board new people coming into the program and they're around and we're around each other and we're enjoying it and they show a passion for it, well, that passion shows through how they show up to work every day. That passion shows with how they work with the athletes. That passion shows with them just thirsting for more information. If I ever get someone in their 20s that feels like they have it figured out, probably not going to get along too well.
Yeah, no.
Because coach, at 51, I'm still trying to learn new stuff.
So starting to learn to ask the right questions at 51.
Yes. Yeah, right.
Well, there's tons of great things to pull out there. I think one, I love the this is La Verne. We're going to wear these colors. This is again, I don't think that has to be this kind of systematic kind of like rule that people were. All these rules that enforce. You're right. When you have a million rules, it's just inviting people to break them, right, in some type of way, and that creates unhealthy conflict. So I think you're right. Like one thing that I would always say is that, we have 26 teams or 23 teams, 21 teams, whatever it is. And we have 26 sports, but we have one team. Like we are the University of Washington. We're the University of Alabama. We're wherever, right? South Florida. We're one team there. And so we're going to represent that. But, one thing that I would do differently than you is for the first semester of so the winter training period, that was all coach led. Now during that time, we would identify who we thought were going to be the leaders. The leadership council voted on by the team, guys that were producing or whatever. And I would meet with them, and there would be things like that. Hey, what are we? How do we feel about What are we wearing in the weight room? Are we allowing earrings? Are we not allowing earrings? Are we in our gear, or can it be any Washington gear? You know, and I would let them make minor decisions like that, where they had to kind of have that kind of discussion as a leadership group. But then once we got into the summer, it was exactly what you said. I would bring up the leaders. I would say, hey, this is the drill for the day. Go get it set up. Make sure the guys know how to do it. And then when I blow the whistle, we better be doing it right. You know, and that kind of forced that communication. And there was all kinds of things where I would have them come up, and at the end of every workout, we had a word of the day or quote of the week or whatever it might have been. And different people were responsible for that each training session. That forced them to get up in front of their peers and talk and communicate and those types of things. But you're right. Like if you're not teaching them to fish, right, like then you're fighting a losing battle. Because I heard this quote the other day. It was something like, it was a parenting. It was like, as a parent, you don't want their first call when they're calling you to be like, "Oh, Dad's going to kill me." You want their first thought to be like, "What would Dad do in this situation?"
Mhm.
So like the same thing with coaching. Like whenever you turn your back, it shouldn't be like, "What can you get away from when coach isn't there?" It should be like, "If coach was standing right here, what would we be doing?" So I
I
think
think,
what you're doing.
athletes, they want you to trust them. They want it, and whether if one day I go, hey, so and so, lead warm up today, just let's see what happens, or able to have that conversation you're talking about. Like you want them to come in and talk to you. I want them to come in and ask questions. And I have what I call my thermometer athletes. They'll come in. How you feeling today? Coach, I'm beat up. Okay, that means everybody's beat up.
Right.
So I'm going to take your word for it, and we're going to tweak the workout. And I've had in-season athletes come in and go, hey, coach, we're pretty beat up today. Well, if you're saying it, okay, everyone's pretty beat up. So let's go ahead and tweak it, because that trust, if they trust that you'll take care of them, they will run through a wall for you when you need them to run through a wall for you.
So you're kind of maximizing the amount of staff you have by educating the coach, the athletes, and having them have some peer accountability and things like that. But when you're talking specifically your staff, as you are trying to educate them and develop them to write customized programs and those types of things, what are some of the non-negotiables that go across when you're trying to create some individualization?
Definitely our accountability and how we are going to hold the kids accountable, how we come into the room. When a coach is talking, we should be listening, mouth closed, eyes and ears open. So I really let the coaches know, you get to coach, let me be the hammer. I'm the full-time guy. I've been here long enough. The gray on the beard tells everyone like I'm a little more seasoned. So I try to make sure that we're all speaking the same language. Now, we're not all going to coach the exercise the same. It may tweak depending on the coach, but if we start a group at 6:30, the group starts at 6:30. We're not waiting for anybody. And I think athletes, like anybody else, get used to a schedule. I think athletes like a schedule. I think the routine is really big for them. So whether I'm standing in front of the group or one of my assistants is standing in front of the group, the standard is the standard. And when each coach is saying we start this time for this reason, we started this time for this reason, we're all on the same page. And it's forced me to get out of my comfort zone in terms of now giving a responsibility to other people. At first, I'd him and haw and go home like, do I need to be at school? This is going on and I'm not there. Now I embrace giving them more responsibility, because I'm finding out that the more responsibility I give them, the more they run with and they enjoy. They like it. They like the fact that I trust them enough to give them responsibility. And so I want to keep fostering that with them. Coaches, when you are working with younger coaches, they're going to make mistakes. And I jokingly always say, hey, you're going to make a mistake, but nobody's going to die. We'll be okay. We'll be all right. Couple other things. My very, very, very first time out when I got hired at College of the Canyons back in 1998, it was after one practice, and Coach Doe said, hey, you want to go get a beer? I said, I'd love to. Let's go. So we went to this place, and I went to pull out my wallet, which had probably $10 in it because I was a young, poor coach. And he goes, hey, full timers always take care of the part timers. I was like, no, coach, no. And he goes, no, trust me, full timers always take care of the. Well, what he taught me there, I still to this day use. So it's a little thing like bringing a box of donuts in for my staff. Hey, what can I get you guys today? Hey, I'm going to go to this. Let's all go together. I'm going to pay for this for you. So trying to do things for them, sometimes when they least expect, to show them like, hey, I appreciate what you're doing. And I think just simply introducing them to recruits, talking about them in front of the athletes, shows that I respect them. I appreciate them. That transfers to the athletes appreciating them. Like, hey, if coach is saying this about them, like, yeah, I should probably listen. And just doing those little things and just bringing them into my life more. If we have a football game on game day, the whole strength staff is there on the sideline helping with the get back stuff. When I go over, and I appreciate you saying what you said about my children. My two boys are the reason why I'm still at La Verne. I kind of put my career, I put it on I don't want to say neutral, but I stayed at La Verne to be a dad. An old wise coach that I respect, I have so much respect for. He said to me one time, we're getting ready to play Menlo College, Coach Church, and he said, Matty, you only get one chance to be a dad. Don't F it up.
Yep.
And this came from a guy who coached all over the country and barely saw his daughter. And so I said, okay, I put my career, I said, I'll just stay at La Verne. I'm going to be a dad. I'm going to be around my kids. So I go over a couple of days a week to Damien High School to work. I got roped into doing the freshman baseball weights, and I work with my son's mountain biking team, which I'm learning to enjoy. And I take my staff with me sometimes. I say, hey, this is Coach so-and-so going to help me today, just to give them more coaching experience. Trying to just continually educate them, tell them about things that I screwed up that hopefully they don't make the same mistakes I did. So continually trying to educate them, help them out with things, trying to get them work. If I have, and I'm not saying any of this to impress anybody that's going to listen to this. I've had a lot of my ex-athletes go on to have success in the strength and conditioning field that are now out doing things that I'm very, very proud of. Being able to have a place for them to reach out to talk to somebody that is doing something they want to do, or just create a relationship. And we try to get excited for every little thing that happens with a coach. If a coach gets a job, and there's a small private Catholic high school in Southern California that's one of the top high schools in the nation. It's Mater Dei. Anyone that knows anything about football, high school football, like Mater Dei is at the top in the country. 2 of their strength coaches, now 3, all work for me.
Yeah.
Very proud of Reagan, very proud of Trent, and Coach Lou just got hired there. So creating relationships to help my young coaches be able to go out and find work. I really feel that's my job right now, is to invest in them so that they can go start a life that they want.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I think that's, when you become a leader, when you become that head strength coach and you have people that you're responsible for, athletes and staff, like it is your obligation. Like I always tell our players that you got me I'm in your, in your corner, you got me for life.
Coach, I say that all the time. I'm your strength coach for life.
Yeah. So like,
You got me.
whether you like it or not, and that it doesn't involve an investment, right? It's an investment in their career and trying to actively network and find ways to place them and do those types of things, or make connections, or give them opportunities like you're doing with the mountain bike club or things like that. I mean, those things all benefit, but really it comes from just how you establish, that culture in your weight room and within your workspace. And you've done that in spades. I thought one thing you said there that I really wanted to point out was, when you're dealing with athletes, that structure, a lot of people think that that's restrictive in ways, but like ambiguity creates fear, and if they don't know, like today it's 2:00 and tomorrow it's 3:00 and it's, like you're all over the place, that creates kind of some uneasiness in the athlete, and, they can't be who they authentically are, and everything come out. And so
Vince Lombardi said this, right? Freedom through discipline. Here's the box I need you to be in. You can move free within the box. There's certain things I think if as gotten older, if kids want to wear earrings in the weight room and everybody's okay with it, okay. If they're working their tails off for me, I don't care if you're purple. It really doesn't matter to me.
That's right.
I do like how a lot of my teams all dress the same. So Monday is white, Tuesday is this, and I don't have to push it. They like looking the same. They like working the same. They want everybody pulling the same amount of rope. And when you have that, what you have is cohesion within a program. It's much easier to get things accomplished because you don't have certain people going in different directions. Like, well, I want to wear this today. No, we're all on the same page. And when we're all on the same page, it's much easier to have good conversation with people. Coach, I really, truly, my heart of hearts, I believe this, that leaders do things that no one else wants to do when no one else is looking. And so can we develop those people for not just our athletic teams, but for their life? I say this to my kids all the time. Being a parent, you don't have an off switch. There's no there's no off season for parenting. When you have a kid and it's 2:00 in the morning and they're crying, you don't get to hit off. You have to deal with that. And it's like and enjoy the challenge of trying to help them understand what is going to be asked of them of their life. They don't know yet. They have no idea when the hardest situation's ever going to come up, and how they can positively affect somebody. So I'm going to tell you a quick little story. Lost my dad last spring, and it happened really sudden, really sudden. He was sick. He had Parkinson's, body, the whole thing. So I get a call from my brother on a Wednesday rainy morning, and hey, Dad's not going to be here much longer. I need you to come up. I looked at my assistant. I said, hey, I got to go. You're in charge. He said, okay, coach, I got it. No problem. This story has two layers to it. So one, I was going back and forth. A couple of my old assistants, who I love, Dylan, who was up at Oregon State, Dylan Lowenstein, and Kevin Stark, who's at USC now. I'm super proud of those guys. And my dad, it was like my dad's last hour. And they were both texting me at the same time, right? And I said, hey guys, my dad's passing away. Can I get back to this tomorrow? Oh, sorry, no problem. 2 days later, I texted him. I said, hey guys, I'm sorry. My dad passed. Coach, what can we do? I mean, within 5 minutes, coach, what can we do for you? I said, send me a funny picture. One of them sent me a picture of his butt cheeks. I mean, I died laughing. Like the ability to have the relationships with not only your student athlete, but your assistants comes from how you train them, organize them, training them when they were student athletes, but as young coaches, getting them to understand there's a bigger picture.
Yeah.
That we need to have empathy. We need to work with people, invest in people, and they will turn around and invest in you right back. And for a student athlete, that investment is simply doing what you're asking what a coach is asking you, but doing it with a smile on your face. So fast forward a couple of weeks, and I'm in with volleyball, and my dad had passed. And I think I just had a look on my face one day, and I'm around my volleyball team a lot. Shout out to University of La Verne women's volleyball. They're regionals. They were ranked #1 all year. Girls are amazing. Do everything that I asked them to do. And one of the girls, our setter, Nessa, walks up. She goes, you okay? I said, yeah, why? She goes, coach, you don't look okay. And I just kind of looked at her like, wow, you noticed that. I said, you don't want to know. She goes, no, coach, I do. I care. And it almost brought me to tears. She goes, coach, what's up? I said, Nessa, I lost my dad 2 weeks ago. And she just looked at me. She almost went into tears. I'm like, okay, stop. It's what I needed at that time from someone who cared.
Yeah.
And about 2 days later, she brought me just a coffee gift card. And it floored me that she cared that much. So those relationships I have with people, current student athletes, my ex-student athletes that are now coaching, all that was built around what we're trying to accomplish here in the strength conditioning department at La Verne. And that is to enhance somebody's life. Now, coach, we haven't talked about coaching a squat, coaching a hang clean, doing speed work, but it's about how we can positively affect their life. Because when it comes right down to it, if I can get someone to work 5% harder because I have a better relationship with them, I'm going to get more out of them. And what I'm trying to do is taking all of these skills that we're trying to teach. They're going to become better athletes. They're going to jump higher. They're going to run faster. But the 4 years that they're at La Verne are really important to me. The 40 after, way more important to me. How they're going to go about going life. And I think I've been coaching for 27 years, and I know our athletes will get stronger. I know they're going to get faster. I know we're going to become better movers. That's the easy part for me. The hard part is now the managing of the egos within the program and getting all the kids moving in the right direction. I got to really talk about my she's going to be a 4-time All-American volleyball player at La Verne, Maya Ray. When she got to La Verne, she was touching 911. This last fall, she touched 10. Wow. That's a 7-inch improvement. Now, coach, I would love to sit here and tell you, that was all me.
Sure.
I think she grew. I do think her vertical jump went up. She's in the conversation for National Player of the Year, but that girl never missed one weight training session, never missed one conditioning session. When your hardest worker is your best player, you're going to have some success. And I think that comes from her knowing that I care a whole heck of a lot about her, not how she's going to do in volleyball, but how she's going to do in life.
Yeah.
So, and I think you start to put all that together, and it's kind of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, culture's everything. I think that what you said it, like the easy part is to just come in, focus on the training session, tell the athlete to do what they're supposed to do and run them if they don't do it, right? That's the easy part. Like training your athletes to coach themselves, spending time with them outside of the four walls of the weight room, ask them about their family and being genuinely interested, all those things. Like that's the hard part, but that's the stuff that makes you go to a different level, like you're saying. And if it's really, truly, you got in this to make an impact in the player's life, the ability to have that kind of relationship after they leave the weight room, that's really the win-loss column right there. And when it comes down to it, you do that again. I mean, just that's why we're so connected, because we both believe the same things. One last question here. I kind of wanted to dig in before we get into like the rapid fire stuff, but like, you've been there for 20 however many years, right? It is easy to to always wonder, right? Like, well, if you were at a bigger school, or you had more money, or you had the latest technology, or whatever. Like, I'm a firm believer that it's better to go the other way and learn how to do without, so that when you do get it, you recognize, you appreciate it, and you're also able to use it fully. But at the same time, like, how have you been able to kind of manage just your own kind of ambition, your own kind of, um, just that kind of, I wish I had this, I wish I had that sometimes, and still be present with where you're currently at?
It's a good question. I think right after I got divorced, there was a couple of years where there was a couple of jobs that were came across my desk. I was like, and again, I changed my why. My why became the kids, and I have found fulfillment in being a father. I found fulfillment in being able to go to all of his mountain biking races, working with his mountain biking team, being at my son's baseball games, having the ability to now work with the freshman baseball team at La Verne, or I'm sorry, the freshman baseball team at Damien, and be around my son. I'm having a dad that was a lifelong coach during football season. My greatest memories growing up were being around him while he was doing his job. And I've tried to give that to my kids, that experience. About 2003 or four, I was down at SC visiting Coach Carlisle, and I said something like, "Hey, coach, what's the earliest you get to go home during the week?" And he goes, huh. He goes, "I get to see my son soccer on Wednesday, and that's it."
Yeah.
And we do, as strength coaches, our families suffer because of the time that we're asked to be around and be involved. And so at the Division III level, yes, I'm busy. I make time for my kids. I make sure that they know dad is involved, dad is around. It's important for me to know, both my boys to know that I love them, that I appreciate them, and I'm very proud of them, what they're doing and how they're doing it. I talk to my youngest all the time. This was his first year of high school football. And so, watching him go through that process, I got to do the chain gang. So every Wednesday or every Thursday, I was the chain guy, and I loved it. It's the best way to watch a football game. Parents, if you're out there, strength coaches, don't sit in the stands, go do the chains. You get your fix of being on the sideline and listening to all the coaches go crazy. And it's the best way to watch a football game. So I will probably always offer to do that, because like most strength coach dads, it's hard for us to sit in the stands. We're too close. So keeping my North Star the North Star. I just got a brand new weight room, $1 million donation. It's been an amazing process. I have this unbelievable facility to train in now, embracing all the hardships that come across my desk. I have learned to take everything that is a challenge to turn it into a growth opportunity. And I try to talk to my athletes the same exact way. Don't look at it as an I have to, look at it as an I get to. This is only going to help you grow as a human being. Every situation, from having to get up early to dealing with a conflict within your team, a teammate. You don't think that as a strength coach that I don't have conflict with coaches or admin? Yes, I do. And I look at it as a way to get better. I've really worked hard at trying to build my relationship with my athletic director in the last couple of years to have a better relationship. Not because that's what should happen. It's the right thing to do. We do need to be on the same page. I want her to know that I support her. I want her to know that I'm in her corner. At the same time, by doing that, she'll be in my corner. And so all of those things, being at La Verne as long as I have, all those learning opportunities, all those situations where I've had to get out of my comfort zone have helped me grow to where I'm at today. Do I still have those opportunities? I've had a few job offers the last couple of years, but now that I'm so invested, my oldest is 18, my youngest is 14. If they want to go to La Verne, they go to school for free. I don't have to pay for college. Sign me up. I'm in. Coach, I will say this though, when I retire, I'll probably get a Sprinter van and chase the waves up and down California. But for right now, I'm enjoying where I'm at. I got 2 feet in the ground. I'm enjoying the process every day, building teams, being around young student athletes who like training, who are embracing everything hard that I'm asking them to do, and are trying to actively get better. You couldn't ask for much more. Do I want them all to win every game? Yes. Does it happen? No. But it's that constant process of trying to get better every single day. And I tell them I need 1%, 1% better. Here's something we do at the end of every workout. I say, go to class, eat, take a nap, and then I'll say, and everyone goes, be great. Every single student athlete at La Verne knows that. Every single student at the end of a workout knows that's what it's followed up with. Because let's be honest, college kids don't eat enough. They don't sleep enough. And they got to go to class to stay eligible. And so I like the last part of and be great. So we routinely have athletes that have to intermix with groups. And so at least at the beginning of the workout and the end of the workout, we can bookend it by all doing the same things. And I think that at the higher levels, you don't have that. You don't have, like, if a basketball guy misses a lift, he's going to train with baseball for the day. Well, at our place, it happens. It happens a lot because of schedules and nobody's on scholarship. So at least we can all come together. And the other thing that I've noticed is that when you have athletes train together from different sports, they go watch each other compete. There's a newfound respect for each other. 2 summers ago, every summer I take my kids that are here for the summer, we go do a beach workout. And that same All-American volleyball player, Maya Ray, we were down at the beach, and it was a bunch of football guys, volleyball girls. We had some basketball girls, basketball guys. And so we finished the workout, and they all go run in the water. I said, all right, we'll get a break. And so they came up, and you have all these athletes, like there was like 70 of them there. And someone goes, okay, Maya, break us down. And that was one of the football guys telling Maya, you're the big dog in the house. You get to break us.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's a show of respect.
Yeah.
She earned that by how she plays and how she trains. And when you have athletes that cross-pollinate in workouts, they have a newfound respect for each other. Like, whoa, your team gets after it. That's awesome. And it brings athletes closer together. And in our small school environment, you see them at each other's games. And that's really cool.
Yeah, super cool. The piece of advice that I would give all of our young coaches as they would go through our intern program was to always make the big time where you're at, right? And that'll lead to you getting other opportunities. But I think the other part of that equation is when you do that, sometimes you realize where you're at can fulfill everything that you want it to be, and you're able to be the parent that you want to be. You're able to have the culture, the relationship with those players or whatever it might be. You might find that as well. And I think you can still kind of check the ambition box, especially now more so than ever, because like you're always bigger outside of your zip code, right? You got the internet and these other things that you're able to kind of do to kind of fulfill. I want to write a book. I want to go speak. I want to do these, like you can still do that stuff without having to go chase some logo on your shirt and still have, fulfillment. And I think that's super important. You've done that in a big, big way. So people listening to this should definitely reach out to you for that. We end the show with some quick hitters here. So give me one mistake that you see young coaches make.
They get too excited about the newest exercise on social media.
Good. I agree with that. You got to know why you're doing those exercises or where it fits into.
Yep.
If you could shadow any coach for a week, who would it be and why?
Tommy Moffitt, because twofold. The way he was excommunicated from LSU and how they talk about him at Texas A&M. I would love, and I'm probably going to go down for spring football. A good friend of mine is the offensive line coach at A&M, and I want to go I've heard him speak many times. I mean, you talk about salt to the earth, dude. You talk about a guy who took that situation to LSU, goes to A&M, and gets those guys moving in the right direction. I would love to hear how he has adapted his training style to what is going on now in college football.
Yeah.
So I hope I get that chance to go spend some time with Coach Moffitt.
I spent 3 days with Tommy when I was at South. Give me a book or a resource that you revisited the most.
I'm going to give you 2 books. One is called The New Mental Toughness Training for Sport. $12 on Amazon. And Dose showed me that book back in 1999, and it's still applicable today. I think we are afraid as a society to push kids. I think we're afraid as a society to hold their feet to the fire. And this book gives you some really good ideas about how to do that. So even when I go work with the high school kids, I still hold them accountable. I still treat them like I treat my college kids. Because if you allow them to be 14 and not pay attention, then that's what they'll be, is 14 and not paying attention. So I really enjoy that book. I have recently got back into Bill Walsh's book. Oh my God.
Me too.
Incredible. It is one of my new favorite books. I've been taking my time reading it, marking it up. You forget that a guy like that when he was alive, had so much to offer in terms of how he went from the Browns to the 49ers, completely changed that organization and changed football. And what he did with the San Francisco 49ers and all those coaches that came after him, what they've done in pro football. So his book on leadership it's a long book. I'm not going to lie, Coach, but it's been fun to read and got my juices flowing again.
Yeah, it's a great one. I would also add in here, because you mentioned it a couple of times, Robert Dos Remedios is a close friend of both of ours, and just has some incredible chaos training and a bunch of others out there that he's just a wealth of information. So I would recommend that as well. But best piece of advice you ever received?
So Robert Prince, I don't know where Coach is coaching right now, but he's a football coach. He was with the Lions, I think, most recently, and I was it was like my 3rd or 4th year coaching. I was coaching a camp up in San Francisco, and we were at a Chinese food restaurant. Music's playing. I've had a few drinks. And I said, Coach, you got any advice for me? And he goes, yeah, take one thing from every coach you ever meet. He goes, it doesn't matter what level. Take one thing away from them. Learn to learn from everybody else. And that has always stuck with me. So I don't care if I'm talking to a youth coach, to the highest level. I don't care if I'm having a conversation with Mike Wosick. I'm trying to take something from everybody across the board, because I think if you do that over time, you accumulate so much information that you can pass along and have to help you.
I tell people all the time to take the good and leave the bad, right? Because everybody's got good, everybody's got bad, but you can always find some good in somebody, and I think that's I love that piece of advice. Last one
And
here.
coach me. Okay, go ahead. I got a question for you, but go ahead.
Well, shoot your question because this is
Okay.
more about you.
So, of all the guys that are still in strength conditioning at the college level, the Tommy Moffats, the Jimmy Radcliffes, the Donnie Mabes, Coach Glass at Oklahoma State, like, we still have older coaches in our profession that are still doing it. It would be amazing to find a way to get them all on the same panel to ask them questions about how they're still doing it, because those guys are doing it at a really high level.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, it's good. I just had a roundtable a couple episodes ago with Johnny Parker and
Legend.
Rick Hughley and Jeff Hurd, and talked about how to retire being a strength coach. But yeah, the ones that are still doing it, yeah, that'd be a really good roundtable. That's a good suggestion. Last one here is just where people can stay up with you and keep up with all the work that you're doing.
Coach Durant on Instagram, Durant. And then, yes, I am on TikTok, kind of like how you're on TikTok, except we're doing information. You and I aren't dancing.
No, and it will never happen.
I think coming into that world, I use my athletes to help me with that stuff. I ask my athletes, what do you guys want to see? Like, what would you like? And everybody loves the fitness. Not everybody, but people have said they enjoy the Fitness Fridays about demonstrating an exercise or coaching something. And I try to let my personality come out in that too, where I am pretty fun loving. I'm actually pretty funny. No one would know. And my athletes come in and they give me suggestions, and they have really good. And a couple of them have actually come in and go, okay, coach, you need to do a mic'd up. So they'll mic me up. And it's Nessa has done an amazing job. She's on our volleyball team, and she'll follow me around for an hour, and then she'll go edit it and she'll make the video for me. Again, another way to bring my athletes closer into me is to use them to help me do things and take their suggestions. And so I try to do all those things. And I don't care what sport it is. If they come in like, hey, coach, we'd like to see this. Okay, I'll do it. What's the worst that can happen? So I'm not afraid of trying any of that stuff.
It's such an important thing. Like, you're meeting them where they're at, right? They're on TikTok, they're on these different things, right? But it also keeps you current by finding conversation and things that you can talk to them about and let them kind of, teach you something. I think that's another thing that athletes are looking for, right? Is to kind of express themselves and to,
Yes.
like they're valued in different ways. And so I think it's fantastic. I got on it, but like you said, you'll never see me dance.
I think if we took a poll, how many people would want to watch you do a dance, though, coach, it might be pretty high. I'm just saying. I tell you what, one last little thing. I'm sorry, coach. Little thing about parenting you brought up earlier. I heard someone say this on a podcast about parenting was as your kids are getting older, let them teach you something. It brings you together. It makes them feel like I've helped my mom and my mom or my dad. So I'm consistently using that same thing with my kids, my own personal boys, my two boys, and then my athletes. Like, teach me something I don't know. It's okay. Like, I want to learn. And they, like you said, they get excited for that.
No, I couldn't agree more. Like I said, man, this has been fun. It's a chance for us to catch up as well. But you and I mean, we identify with family. It's super prior to us both. Mountain biking, coaching. We're finishing each other's sentences a lot of time, man. So it's just awesome to have you on the show and to highlight the things that you're doing there. I just appreciate how you do it and how you share with the community as well. So thanks for coming on, brother.
I appreciate it, coach. Thanks for even asking. I tell you what, man, when you started your first podcast, couldn't have even imagined you asking me to come on, and now I've been on twice. So I appreciate you, coach. You've done so much for this profession. You don't get enough credit for how you have brought our profession not only out, but to the forefront, made it important. And then the information you are giving out, coach, this is priceless. So thank you. I appreciate it. I'm humbled.
Thanks, buddy.